we like to talk about many different things at times, but with that, hello and welcome to Everyday Eternal number 165, your favorite, most deceptively named bi-weekly Legacy podcast. Today's show is brought to you by Salvatore of MTG Chicago, who is upgrading his subscription. Thank you so much, Salvatore. If you want to support the running of the show directly, you can support us on patreon.com/everydayeternal. And you supported us so much, we actually, we booted Kai from the cast. Kai, was good having you. We got a much better and improved version of Kai, and that is Marco Montani. Marco, hey, how's it going?
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me. It's going great, and I was looking forward to this since you invited me, so...
Yes, it's like 48 hours or something ago,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. 48 hours of eager anticipation, and that's pretty...
oh, that's amazing.
It's so much better already without time. Sorry. I'm joking.
No, yeah. So what we're doing this week, at least the way we planned it up, we had to skip recording for a week because of technical issues, and which I guess have been resolved. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking to you right now, so I guess they have been.
The technical issues might have been me, and it might have been a computer just dying, and me fixing it and going crazy and whatever. And I'm on a different computer now, so yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, that's how it works, right? So what we're doing is we're basically compressing both episodes that we had kind of planned to stretch out over like as we do over 2 weeks. Next week we're gonna have or I guess if you're listening to this week, today, right now, we're gonna have the regular episode of our review of 4Seasons, of Kai's experience there. We're gonna get him like one more time. No, actually, Kai is still part of the cast. He's just, what is Kai even doing tonight? He didn't even tell us. He was just like, I'm busy every single day for the rest of the week, and I know on Thursday he plays Legacy at Brettspielplatz.
That must be it, yeah.
Yeah, he's hiding in the shadows, and he'll pop up any moment, I think.
As anybody in Berlin always does. I guess that's how it works.
We're just going to have him join the chat. Yo, it's your boy.
Yeah, I can already hear it, right? We need to get some sound. You know what we should do? We should prank him. Like, we should record a soundbite, and as soon as he gets on, we play it. Just like, yo, it's your boy, Kai Samatarix.
We can talk about it on the cast, and if he mentions it, then we know he'll listen to this podcast.
Oh,
because he should. He should hear How to Win at Magic from Marco.
But the thing is, like, we're gonna record before this one gets released, so that's what I was saying, right? That's the regular episode coming out, and this one is the special double feature. You know, when they show like Dune 1 and Dune 2, or all the Lord of the Rings thingy and Part 1, Part 2, or Star Wars, what have you, for 17 weeks. And this is the second part of this, because this is our interview with Marco. And if you don't know Marco, then you probably haven't been following Legacy, which is fine, right? You listen to this podcast. That's where we get you. Honestly, Marco, I actually have to say, I totally, I'm so bad with getting to know people that I haven't interacted or hung out with a lot, because I don't feel shame. I guess I feel shame, but I also don't mind sharing that for the longest of times, I thought you were somebody completely different.
Okay. No, I mean, that's fine. It doesn't hurt my feeling that much. So don't worry.
I know. Now I know who you are. Like, you really, there's literally nobody in the world right now who has made more of a name for himself in Legacy in the last 1.5 years or something, or even longer. But yeah, I just have that thing. Like, I told you, right, when 2015, when we went to Lille, and somebody asked me he wanted to join us in the castle that we rented, and I said yes. And then somebody completely different showed up at the castle, and that's where I realized for the last 2 years I thought the person was somebody else, and basically two people were the same guy, which they of course were not.
But who's the other guy? Do you remember?
Yeah, I know both guys, but I'm not going to share the names because that's too embarrassing. Actually.
It was actually just a random guy that turned up.
No, just two guys from Munich, a little shorter than average, and yeah, that's I guess that's why I kind of confused them. And they played similar decks and everything, and they had the same hair, and that's pretty much where I dance. Oh god, I sound so superficial, right?
No, don't worry.
But great guys. Like, I was not unhappy that the other guy showed up, because that guy was actually, I don't even remember which one of the two showed up.
Marco, anyway. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, see, that's why you got cut up. Yeah, okay, let's not derail.
Magic-wise, or you want to know?
Yeah.
No, who are you? Where are you? Well, we know kind of where you're from. Like, I would guess Italy.
Yeah, I'm Italian, and that means I move my hands a lot while I'm talking, and I'm pretty strict about how you should cook pasta and all the other things. So that aside, I work as a product manager in a software company, and I have tons of other interests. let's say, movies or video games, and also, of course, Magic the Gathering, which it's actually a weird relationship that I now have with the game, because I'm not really playing much. But still, I mostly go to tournament because I want to connect with friends that I made over the years. But right now, I would say it's not my top priority. But then again, every time I play, it's the magic comes back. So
like it's movies, video games, being good at Magic. Like, you sound everything Callum is not.
Wow. Oh, wait, was that a compliment? I can't tell.
No. That's
No, I got it.
I got it. Like, anyway, you said you don't get to play a lot of Magic anymore. Have you played more Magic in the past? Actually, let's start out with, how old are you actually?
Yeah, I'm going for 32 years old in October, so 31 now. Mm-hmm. And I used to play as a kid. I was atrociously bad, let's say. My strategy in deck building was to have drakes as low drops and dragons as high drops. So something like that.
A smart way to play Magic.
Yeah, and I usually played like at least 7 colors in my deck with all basics. So that was who I was as a kid. And then I stopped playing for no specific reason, I would say. And then once I started university, a group of friends started playing again. And I decided, okay, I think I'm going to play again, but this time I want to do it in a serious manner. I don't want to be the
7-color dragon guy.
Yeah, exactly. So I really started to approach it in a serious manner. That doesn't mean that I was still a game. I mean, but still I approach it. I really studied the game. I tried to play many different decks, many different formats, and really started to develop my knowledge the best I could. And every time I wanted to discuss after a game, even if I won or lose, it didn't really change much. I still wanted to discuss how the game went, and this approach, I think, is one of the main reason for my success, I would say, the approach overall.
I think that approach to like looking at the game is really where the upper echelons of good players come from. Like, I'm not like that, and I always wish I could be like that. I don't have the attention span or kind of, I guess, investment in the game I've found over the years to kind of go back and watch replays and stuff. But I think that's where the really, really good players come from.
Well, actually, I seldom watch replays, but right after the game, I could like analyze it for a pretty long time, more in the past than now, but still.
Makes sense. Was this with like lots of different formats, so like standard and modern and everything, or was it?
Yeah, I started playing modern just because I saw a guy playing Bird in Pod and I fell in love with it.
Oh, so many people have lost their first love.
that was my first love, and also the first Legacy deck I played.
Oh, you played Pod and Legacy?
Yeah, of course.
Like Bug Pod?
Sorry?
Like Bug, like Sultai Pod or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's so cool.
With Veteran Explorer and stuff. Sonic Fit Pod. It was released by Caleb Durard, I think. So that was interesting. So playing Cabal Therapy in a format that you actually don't know didn't turn out as the best choice, but still sometimes I got to eat some dark rituals in the blind.
Just always say brainstorm and it's probably fine.
Yeah, often. Maybe that was too advanced of a play for me at the time, but still.
I like the idea of just playing it to see the opponent's hand, and then you can flash it back and be like, okay, still good enough, right?
Yeah.
Is there even a card like even Peak draws you a card? Is there literally a card that says, look at the opponent's hand, like Glasses of Urza, and you can use that like multiple times? This is hilarious, but oh god, guys, I'm so bad. I'm really derailing the shit, but I mean, this is what you love the podcast for. You guys remember? Okay, some of you remember Philipp Schöniger, right?
Yeah.
I believe, was it Philipp? Oh, dude, I don't know if I trash talk him, but I think it was him. Yeah. And he won he top 8'd like 2 Legacy GPs in a row. Like he for a time was one of the, if not the best Legacy player in the world. But I remember we were talking like in one of our chats, one of the 7 Million Miracles chats, and he came up with the idea of Glasses of Urza. Like, he didn't know the card already existed, and he was like, hey guys, what do you think? And by the way, for those who don't know, Glasses of Urza, how much does it cost? Like 1 mana or something?
1 mana. You can get it off Urza Saga, baby.
Yeah, you can, and it's an artifact. You can tap it, and you can look at the opponent's hand.
Okay.
And he didn't know the card already existed. He just like came up with the card in his head, and he asked us, how much do you think this card would be? And we thought like he was trolling. And we were like, oh, whatever. And he was like, I think this card should be 4 mana. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because he was considering playing it in Miracles, apparently. I'm like, no. Then we showed it. I just posted a picture of the real card, and he thought like I had like just faked this thing, and like, no, it's real.
You could have played with Telepathy. It's like a 1 blue enchantment.
Ooh,
and
yeah, from Urza Saga, right?
Yes. Yeah. So you can pitch to force when you have multiples.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, chemotherapy like is so much better, right? When you know the format. And what initially drew you into Legacy? Was it like because you like pot so much that you wanted to play it in every format?
No, actually, I think like I got Legacy had this reputation of being very, very skill intensive. So that was just it. It was a challenge for me, and that was what I wanted to try. I also played Death and Taxes pretty early, and I didn't know actually all the rules of the game yet, but but still, yeah, it was weird because the first time I played Death and Taxes, I thought that I could tap my opponent lands in response to the opponent tapping them for mana. So you can see, those games. Yeah, those games. Like we played a mirror with a guy, and he didn't know the rules as well. So it looks like a Mexican standoff. So if I tap the land, then I can. So it's like the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Wow, Richard Port is so good.
So yeah, and then I realized that I couldn't do it, but still, that's a bit embarrassing. But I really cherish those memories because like every good player has been a terrible player at some point.
I think half of players will say that they used to tap Land Elves and search the library for a forest and put it into play.
Yeah, like, okay, I've never done that, but
it's a classic, yeah.
But yeah, I can understand why I did it. So. Yeah, let's say so. After playing a bit of Modern, I decided to try and play Legacy. Actually, I played it a bit, let's say, at the kitchen table, and then I played a tournament in my city. We had every Monday evening we would start playing at like 9:30 and stop at 2 o'clock in the morning, and that was pretty nice. I started playing, I started analyzing the game, and I was, let's say, lucky enough to top 8 my second tournament, which was Ovino 9 with over 400 players.
Oh, yeah. When Ovino Ganon was still around, right, in Milan.
Yeah. And actually, we stopped playing at like 3 a.m. because there had been issues with the pairings, and I drove home right back. Like,
what's that like? I remember that I was there as well. And then they played the top 8 the next morning at 8 in the morning, and only half of the players showed up.
Yeah, I wasn't there because
nice.
I actually proposed at 3 o'clock in the morning to go play the top 8 in a bar. That was how crazy I was.
That's so Italian, and I'm doing the hand signal in like that's cool. I love it.
But they said no, and I said okay, so I'll just drive home, and then nobody can say they beat me. So
I guess it works.
Yeah, but yeah, about the tournament, I remember that. Let's say I think I played well, but in retrospective, I was missing some strategical, let's say, points. I didn't really understand the game that well, but turn by turn I could play pretty good. So overall, I think.
Which deck did you play back then?
I played That Blade. because
okay.
what I like, it's a pile, and I played many piles in my life. But what I liked about it, that it was, and that's something that you can in general see in my style. You had everything. You had discard spell, you had counters, you had removals, you had Stoneforge Mystic, and so you had also equipments. You have many different things in the same deck, and that's something that I really enjoy about the game in general. So
you always get to play Magic, right? There's like almost never a matchup where you feel like, oh, I'm just dead before I even sit down. That's cool.
Yeah, it was probably 45-55 against anyone. So,
yeah.
And I also met Tomasz Vicek there. I lost to him. He was my only. Yeah, he was my only loss in the tournament, and we became friends after that. We analyzed a bit. He told me how badly I played. He was right.
Dude, I can totally hear Thomas talking in my head right now.
yeah. But
Marco,
it was very. Yeah.
This card, do not play this card. In Czech Republic, we do not play this card at all. It is banned. You know, you understand. Dude, I love Thomas so much. He's like, oh my god, he's such a great guy.
Yeah. And after just that interaction, he then, like years later, invited me to Prague, to his home for 2 weeks. That has been amazing.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Was that still the home where people would randomly set fire to their staircases and everything?
Sorry?
Yeah. I remember that there were stories about like random fires breaking out in the hallway and yeah.
Didn't know about
Tomasz home is very famous in Europe because there's always something weird happening in that house.
Yeah, definitely. It was me, Angelo Cadei, and Pascal Wagner. So it was quite. We were 4 nights of the apocalypse, let's say.
The killer European team.
It was like quite packed, but also lots of good players.
Yeah, it was fun. The testing sessions in the apartment were very, very fun.
So I'm interested, like, your kind of foray into Legacy. So you played Deathblade and stuff, and I think when we first started talking, it was because you were playing like ISAMARU and winning challenges with stuff like that. So I was like, oh, he's like a brewer, but he's obviously very good as well. And you've played mostly like Death Shadow or tempo style decks at these 4 Seasons recently and stuff. What was your like journey through Legacy then from Deathblade?
Yeah, actually, in my really first tournament, which was the one before, still a big tournament, I went 5-0 into 5-3 with Merfolk. And the reason
Really?
I played Merfolk was like that tells a lot about me as a player, I think, because it was very. I didn't like the deck. It was a very conscious decision, which was like, I'm bad at this format, so let's just play a simple deck, and I will play a good deck the next time. But that was actually a good choice because I got to play a very interesting tournament. I went 5-0 and really I lost the win and in basically. And then after that I played Deathblade, and then I started to experiment with many decks.
I think that's wonderfully aware of your capabilities. Like, a lot of people think of themselves as a good player or something, and they'll start with a harder deck to play, and that's fine, but if you're willing to lose a lot at the beginning. But here you're just like, right, as you said, I don't know the format, I'm going to play something simple and learn by the interactions that are played against me. Whereas you can play Deathblade would probably be quite a hard deck to play first because you don't know what your thought seizing, you don't know what your force of willing at the right time and stuff, and as we all know, making a mistake with any of those cards can just lose you the game so fast.
Yeah, exactly. And my strategy at the beginning was really to play every possible deck. I also played Storm. I played everything. Awesome. Badly, but that helped me to develop a good knowledge, and I quickly became one of the best player in my city. And I don't say this to brag. It's just it was just true based on the results. So
this is something I've always said to people as well. So I've played basically every single deck in Legacy a couple of times at least. Magic Online makes it very easy nowadays, but I would borrow and use other people's cards, and I was playing Magic Online since very early as well, and just following MTG the source, like every single thread, just learning about every single deck. And even though I'll never consider myself like a Storm player or something, I played it a bunch just to learn it. So it's amazing what you can glean, the information you can learn by like recognizing play patterns from being on the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
So if someone has the capabilities, I've always said, if you can just play everything, you're going to learn so much more than you expect. I know you can be like, the whatever deck guy. Like you can be the D&T guy, and you can, or woman, sorry, and you can learn it by playing it over and over again for years. But if you play every other deck against it as well, you're going to just learn so much more.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's not like feasible in the long run. I would say you can't every time play every deck in the metagame, but just to become a bit more confident with the format and everything, it was very, very good. I don't do that anymore. I don't play every deck just to learn how to play against it, because to be honest, I don't think I need to do that anymore. I think it would be useful, but I just not willing to devote that much time to it. So I just test.
Yeah, you can go in the middle ground. Like recently, the blue-black reanimator deck I've played like 2 leagues with, just to see if there's any weird kind of play patterns I can recognize and stuff.
Yeah,
but once you've seen Days, Wasteland decks do their thing enough times, you can probably skip that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm actually looking through top 8s right now of yours on MTG top 8, and there's like this weird coincidence that whenever you top 8, there's also Angelo Kadai top 8ing and Thomas Flaschek top 8ing.
Yes, that was amazing.
It happened like 3 times or something.
I think 2 times all 3 were in the top 8, and then me and Angelo, I think many other times.
Many times in 4 seasons, yeah.
Yeah, that was very cool, because let's say after my first top 8, I knew that I played good, but I wasn't one of the best player in the room. I just knew it. I couldn't just for one result start to claim that I was a great player. But I used that result to, let's say, get in touch with just a bit of credibility with other players. Angelo was one of them. Also, I played with Ivan Fusari. He top-8'd with Dredge in that tournament. I played with Matteo Blasi. I played with many players, and just that little result, let's say, gave me a bit of credibility to approach them. And I never approached them like in a style like teach me, I will copy your play style, but just do you want to test together? Do you want to play? Do you want to discuss the match afterwards? So that was the approach.
This is another, sorry to interrupt very quickly, but another amazing thing you can do if you're trying to get better at Magic is surround yourself with players that you think are better than you, or
exactly. Yeah, and at first there were like a lot of players who were much better than me, and even if I had a good result, I just recognized that. And after that, for like 2 years, I struggled with repeating myself, let's say, but that was probably natural. Like in retrospect, I just probably wasn't good enough to do it again. It was pretty lucky the first time, I would say, so that made sense. But then after 2 years, still in Milan, in Ovino, I top-8'd with Death and Taxes, and it was amazing that Angelo and Tomas were there as well in the top 8. So it was like history repeating itself. So it was very nice.
Oh, yeah, I can see that here, right? That there's like a gap in your results from 2014 to 2016.
Yeah.
And then you show up again in Ovino 11, that is. Yeah, makes sense. Playing Death in Texas. So,
yeah,
I mean, most people who don't know you or only recently got to know you probably think about you as the like blue-black shadow guy. But you played your fair share of decks, as you already mentioned.
Yeah, let's say that. Okay, that shadow is my favorite deck ever. I'm not gonna lie about it. But still, I don't play a deck just because it's my pet deck. If I play it, it's because I actually believe it is good. That said, one thing that I never really want to lose about Magic is that Magic should be fun, and I'm not afraid to test horrendous stuff, even on Magic Online, because like you can get many insights, but also it's just fun. Like
I will reiterate, this guy has won a challenge with ISAMARU, Hound of Condor. So.
Yeah, exactly. When I tried that, like I try to be as open-minded as possible, and not like berserkers. I'm not going to go berserk in a tournament, but I will at least try and test bad stuff. And most of the time I will fail, but most of the time I will also get some insight, and I will understand why that didn't work, and that will help me the next time. And I do that because one quality I think I have is that I don't need that much actual serious testing to get in shape. So I'm very quick with my playtest. If I let's say play 4 or 5 leagues online, I'm already in good shape, I would say. So I can spare the time to just play bullshit deck.
Is that so? Whenever you find you on whenever you run into you on Magic Online or even in a challenge, there's a good chance that whatever you're playing or the list that you're submitting is not necessarily what you think is the best deck in the room, but something you just want to try. Okay, I see. I see that. As somebody who recently probably only streamed Blue-Black Mill, and even honestly, we went 2-3 a couple of times with Blue-Black Mill and Legacy now, which is that's a completely different thing, and it's never gonna be like a proper competitive top deck and everything. It's just so much fun. So I can kind of relate to that. I love playing like bullshit on Magic Online every once in a while and just having fun, or even, as you say, right, try something out of left field. Was that by the way when Lurus was legal when you won a challenge?
That was the only reason why the deck was actually feasible. I really tried to make it work, and I will try again when Ajani, the new the new creature, will come out, and I will lose a lot of play points.
It was like was it like 4 Mox Ambers and stuff as well?
Sorry?
It was like Mox Amber kind of.
Yeah, Mox Amber. Mox Amber.
Yeah.
That card, I actually bought tons of the card because I always thought that card had potential, not necessarily in Legacy, but acceleration is often good in Magic. So I played it in the Lurus deck, but Lurus was the reason why that deck was actually feasible. And I don't know if you know how the last game of the event went, but it was insane. So
go on, tell us.
I played against a fellow Italian guy that was playing Canadian Threshold, so pretty old style, and I mulliganed to 5. And I chose to keep the most, let's say, berserk hand I could, because I was mulligan. I was at 5 cards and no other chance to win. So I play Lotus Petal, Lotus Petal, Lotus Petal, Mother of Runes, Leonin Arbiter. Game.
And your opponent just like,
I'll be honest, because I played like against that deck quite a lot in the leagues after it, and I remember only losing to Leon and Arbiter. Like everything else was fine, and I was like, I'm just not searching my library. Screw this.
Yeah, and also the card is pretty dumb on Magic Online. People often fetch without clicking it first, but that didn't happen in that game. But the interesting thing that I described this turn, but there was another line. There was 3 petals, Lurus, then petal again, and then Mother of Runes. But I believe it was incorrect, because I would have just lost to any land plus Lightning Bolt, fetch land plus Lightning Bolt. So I went for the really all-in line, and
then the hand was just fetches.
I like that.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, sometimes that's what it takes on a mulligan to 5, right? Like mulligan to 5 on the play or on a play against the 7 keep just like feels so bad in Legacy. It's so hard to kind of keep up. So if you can get them, you definitely want to get them.
Yeah, exactly. You're playing a different game than the normal, let's say, play patterns no longer apply when you're on 5 cards against a player that you respect, let's say. Then you have to really be aggressive and try and end the game, because you won't win the long game. It's just not possible. Yeah. So
I'd love to know, so now you say, you have so much experience playing Legacy, especially, that you can play 5 leagues. I guess that's when you know what deck you're going to play for the tournament already.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Unless, the leagues go really badly and like, right, I'm going to change my decision. But let's go back a few years, I guess, and say, if you were less sure on your deck choice or less sure on the list and stuff, did you used to play a lot more before then?
Yeah, well, let's say, back in university years, I've never been very, let's say I was a bad student, not because of lack of, let's say, understanding, but lack of, let's say, conscientiousness and effort. So, you have to choose between studying and playing, and of course you just play. So that's why I had a lot of time to play, and why I took a bit too long to finish university, but
yeah, fair enough.
Not the only reason, but yeah, I used to play a lot. Probably I would reiterate with 3 leagues with one deck, 3 leagues with another, 3 leagues with another, and then choose probably something like that.
Okay, because there's always a fine line between like just playing too much where it doesn't even become that useful at the end, and playing too little and then you just kind of get locked on something that's actually could be improved by quite a lot.
Yeah. I try to optimize. So if I play, let's say, too much, it's just because maybe I'm enjoying it. But if I'm not enjoying it and I can tell when one league or more won't make a difference, let's say.
Yeah, so sometimes you play a deck that's just so bad, you're like, yeah, right, match 2 in, you're just like, yeah, I'm going to finish the league out maybe and see how...
It's like not worth your time trying to fix something, even if you can maybe fix a problem, it's still coming at a cost that you're not willing to pay, I guess, something like that.
Exactly. Sometimes you see that deck has like 4 problems and it's just more productive to test something else.
Yeah. So. It's like, I can fix this one problem, which makes all the other problems even worse, but at least exactly. Some people are like, and maybe I can be like, I don't think anybody is immune to that, but sometimes we as humans, we like to do things and feel good about ourselves. Hey, I solved a problem, but we didn't really think about whether it's actually worth our time. Didn't you say that you're a project manager?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so. I guess you know exactly what I mean then. I think that's...
Yeah, to be honest, I can say that a lot of stuff I learned through Magic, I then apply in my work. Like, for instance, is when you have to you play around, let's say, a card that would lose you the game if you're already in a bad situation, but you probably should try to prevent the bad situation first and not play around that. I don't know if I explain myself correctly, but
I know
sometimes
exactly what you mean,
And so let's say if in project management a problem arises, but that arises only if you sold like a lot of your product, then of course you have to take that problem in account, but it's not the most urgent. The most urgent is the one that will prevent you from selling your product. So
oh, I like that. Like applying project management skills to Magic development.
It's probably it's like the other way around. I learn via Magic and then I apply to project management. So that.
Does anyone go to the supermarket and think of what your pick 1 pack 1 is?
Sorry,
when you go to the shops, and what's your pick
actually,
1?
That's a great thing. Callum, what is your pick 1? No, your pack 1, pick 1 in the supermarket. What's the one thing you will never fail to not take from the supermarket?
From the supermarket,
eggs and milk usually.
I would say, but not necessarily because it's the best thing, but just because I like it and it's handy. It's pesto, which is I don't know if
yeah. I just had pesto the other day.
Yeah. So,
but pre-made. I didn't make my own. Okay, so you took it from the supermarket. It's the same.
Yeah, but I hope you were ready to ask me my pick 1, pack 1. But my first pick in the vintage cube, which would be like Talia all day long.
No, is it Talia?
All right, that is the end of the podcast. Everyone, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Tune in again next time without Marco. No, I love Talia.
Anyway. Of course, I'm joking, but there was a season where I actively forced mono white every single cube, and I had the highest win rate in my life. Like it was like 90% over, let's say, more
crazy.
Like a lot of leagues. So it was pretty interesting because no one was willing to play the deck, and that's understandable, of course.
I'm a firm believer in I only cube for fun. So like even if I know picks are like correct and stuff, I'll just take whatever I find fun.
Yeah, but I mean, winning is so fun. Let's say so.
But winning with terrible, stupid decks is.
Yeah, I mean, let's say that winning with a cool deck is the best feeling in the world, but winning with a bad deck is still better than losing with a cool one. So
yeah, that's true.
You know, I want to go back to applying project management skills to Magic. So I've never been a project manager, but I know a lot of them, and a lot of them also told me to get into it because they feel like I could like enjoy it, and I don't nearly have the kind of experience that you have in it, but I think I kind of understand what people talk about when they mention that. And one thing a lot of project managers have told me, That is, if one was to get into project management, you have to be ready to like sometimes be disliked by everybody in the company, because you actually like you talk about the problems, you try to make them go away, whereas like individual departments can just like sometimes be like, oh, I'm just gonna sit on the problem, I'm gonna ignore the problem because it doesn't concern me, and then like you have to remove the what they call like the blockers or whatever the fancy speech for that is. And I feel like if you want to be good in Magic, at least that has been my experience, you also or other people who are good at not lying to themselves about problems, they are really good at like making a better deck. You know, not the kind of people who will always say, oh, I just got unlucky. Maybe you did get unlucky, but over like X games, you always get unlucky, so maybe your deck is a problem. And I think that's like a project management thing to say. You know?
Yeah, I think that's a life thing to say. Like,
true.
I think not lying to yourself is literally the most important thing you have to do in your life. I speak for experience. Yeah, definitely. That's not Magic related, but I won't dive deep into that because I don't think it's what our listeners are really interested about. But let's say,
it depends. Our listeners will listen to a lot of crap. As evidenced by the last 165
I mean maybe we can arrange another episode, because it would be a long story.
Okay, dude, we're gonna have an episode at some point. What were the biggest lies you told to yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
Or even harder, what are the biggest lies you still tell yourself, dude?
Anyway. That one is very.
That one's a hard-hitting one.
Yeah, but it's a very important one. So let's just say I lied to myself in the past, and I paid the price, and I try to not do that again. And it really pains me when I see people doing that in their life. Of course, when it happened in Magic, if the people who's lying to himself is my opponent, I'm pretty happy because he's probably not gonna beat me. But yeah, I see a lot of that in general. People that really want to believe something, and then they just believe it no matter what reality says, and that's a huge problem in life, and also a huge problem in Magic in general.
I think it's very hard to kind of spot that, though, to give some players some credit, like especially because again you have a ton of experience now. I think when you're especially building a new deck or building a bit of a brew, I've even done stuff myself in the past where like you get frustrated because you're getting mana screwed and stuff, and well, that's what the format does. It stifles and wastelands and dazes you and stuff. But it happens so much over time, then you need to be like, right, there's clearly a problem with the mana in this deck. I'm not just getting more unlucky than usual.
Yeah.
But some people really, really, truly believe in luck and stuff. Like people affect.
Yeah, there's a sub game that I play in every tournament. Like I try to be. Let's say if something happens, let's say if I sit on the right side on the table and I win 3 matches in a row, and I realize that I'm sitting on the right side, I immediately switch on the left side. I challenge myself. I challenge myself every time to go against the superstition, like every time.
Dude, I love that so much. I think a lot of people would either say that they don't believe in that kind of stuff, or they would say that they try to sit on that side. I think very few people would actively go and try to, crush the superstition actively.
I love it. Yeah, I think I'm similar. I have one thing. I always choose odd when you're rolling a dice. Otherwise, not even for superstition, but otherwise I'm the same. I like go against it just because it's more fun.
Yeah, actually, I do that too. I always choose odd, but now that you told this, I realize that next time I will change it as well. But also, I won't change it like every time. Like once in a while, I will actually not change it just because. Also, changes becomes a pattern. So
you know what? That you must be a really good poker player.
Actually, I'm not that good, but I think, you should, in order to be good, you should study the game a bit, I think. If I don't like the game that much, so, yeah, long story short, I'm not that good, but I think I could be, let's say.
I think you could be, like breaking your own patterns, and like even if you play like a passive-aggressive style, and like you play a little bit impulsive, like if you become aware of your own patterns and you can actually break them without like making stupid plays, of course, I think that's really. But I mean, what do I know? I I probably lie to myself that I think I'm a better poker player than I really are. So I still gotta work on that.
Yeah, but I mean, lying to yourself is just the worst. So it's something that really prevents you from achieving what you want to achieve. So.
Okay,
don't lie to yourself, people.
Okay. So we kind of also invited you because we want to get to the bottom of what makes you so good, and we'll talk about like what do you think about the current metagame in a moment. But like very practically, what do you think people who want to do well in Legacy? Like, I mean, there's a lot of people who have no ambitions of doing well, and I mean that's fine, and in some way maybe they are even happier. But of the people who actually do want to do well in Legacy, what are the most common things, like actual, like practical things that people lie to themselves about? Like whether it's like deck choices or playing in a certain way. Like what do you see as you play on the top tables? And I think we haven't mentioned it yet. You have like four seasons top 8s out of last 5 or something. This is completely bonkers.
Yeah, I think it's out of 6 or. Probably 6, something like that. But yeah, it's just, no, maybe it's 3 out of 5. I don't remember, but it's a good sign when you don't remember. It means
see, I think our show notes say 4, but I could be wrong. But I just remember going to 4 seasons, and like after the last round, every time Callum would come up and say, "Dude, you have no idea who just made top 8 again." Like, oh my god, is it Marco again? Yes. Yeah, but then like he keeps like telling me, okay, now over the last couple of 4 seasons, he's like at 85% win rate. Now he's at 90% win rate. Like, what is going on, this guy? So
I'm a Marco fanboy.
I can tell you what's going on. I'm just fucking lucky. No, to be honest, I think no one ever top-8'd without a bit of luck, or at least not being unlucky. Let's say I don't ever think any of my top 8 would have come without just a bit of. I don't want to say incredible luck, but just in some tournament you just play 2 times against a bad matchup and you mulligan to 5, and you just lose the tournament. You can't do anything about it. In those tournaments that never happened. I had very few non-games, and so I could actually play Magic all the time. And also I think I played correctly. I think in the top 8 I made with that Shadow, I built the deck very well. But yeah, a bit of luck is...
That's my one like really point I wanted to make in this podcast. I was waiting for it to come up. Was the one with the Death Shadow where you played Gomag Angler over Murktide Regent because Snuff Out was so popular in the metagame at the moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's how you get lucky, by making really smart decisions.
Yeah, exactly. Let's say you give yourself the chance to get lucky.
When I saw the top 8 lists, I'd forgotten that Gomag Angler was a card, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's really clever." Oh, okay.
Yeah. The point was that I wanted to play 4 Strixes, but I didn't want to be too heavy on the mana, so I couldn't play Murktide Regent. And I tried and tested Gomag Angler, which is almost strictly worse than Murktide, but it fit the deck better. And that's the kind of stuff that people would just dismiss without even testing because it looks bonkers, like it looks very, very stupid, but it was actually correct. And I
think that's
ended
a
up facing Grixis Delver with Snuff Out I think 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, because at that point in the game, in the metagame, people need to remember this was when White Plume Adventure was legal. So Snuff Out was like a 3-0 in Grixis Delver, and it was everywhere in Shadow and stuff. So like it was super popular.
Yeah, exactly.
So I know you're saying like, you know, you felt like you get lucky, and I agree. Any tournament I've done well at, I felt like, you know, it's not that you get especially lucky with top decks and stuff, but it's more like you don't make the mulligans. But you have been on this streak with blue decks that do mulligan less than usual, and you've been making smart decisions, and you have a wealth of experience. So I think there is a big element of making your own luck, and you've given yourself the consistent decks to play, and you played them obviously very, very well. And then you do need to not have the mulligan to 4 or 5 non-games and stuff, and that's where, you know, you can be on a streak. But at the same time, for these larger events where there's often 9 or 10 rounds, I think 4 Seasons hits this really tough spot of like you need to go 8-0 and then double ID, or like 9-1. There's been some people who have done like 8-1-1 and still come 9th or something. Yeah, it's a very, very, very tough tournament to top 8. The field is pretty stacked as well. Italian players are just very good, like the average play. in my experience, has been very high there. So yeah, it's a tear you're on, but it's making a lot of your own luck for sure.
Yeah, and I can elaborate a bit on what I think makes the difference for me, but I want to answer Julian's question first about how a new player should approach the game, let's say. And okay, so the first thing is be very aware of your skill level. You won't get better if you can't recognize that you're bad. So you have to identify who are the players that you can learn something from, and in order to do that, you must be humble. And then you don't have to necessarily have a pet deck or something like that. I mean, it's interesting. You can have a pet deck and be a competitive player, but it shouldn't be a religion. It should be just a preference. Okay. So
thank you. I'm gonna pray to what you're saying here.
The Church of Holy Thalia. We are so sorry.
And so this is two important points. And there's plenty more, but this is the gist of it. Let's say.
I completely 110% co-sign that. Great advice.
I mean, part of it is also like not everybody has the luxury, right, of being able to switch a deck before a big tournament. I mean, we already have like a lot of proxy tournaments like at local level, but I think the really big ones, like 4Seasons at least, they don't allow proxies. So you not. I mean, I think a lot of people can borrow cards, and I would feel confident going to any event being able to borrow a card. But that also came from like making so many connections and stuff. I think if you're a newer player, it's a little bit harder. But I agree, like if you have the opportunity to switch it up and you think your current pet deck is like really not cutting it, that's something you should make use of. And I believe I have not always done that. Like I still played elves when Dig Through Time and like GP Lil 2015. It was probably my worst choice of a deck where I went into it playing like elves just because I won the GP trial on Friday. And I had even prepared a different deck. And that deck actually ended up putting 2 copies in the top 8. And I felt like that was like the Agrolome kind of 4-color deck. And I felt like that kind of was a pretty good choice. But then, old love dies hard. And I was like, let's just run with elves. And dude, horrible.
I think you could put that under like a continuation of be realistic with your expectations of your skill level. So this is obviously not skill level at all. It's deck availability. But I think you can carry it over and say, right, my deck that I have and that I play is not very well positioned. I'm going to, build it to beat the current metagame as best I can. Yeah. But you can go in with like slightly less expectations than winning the tournament. I know that goes against what you believe, Julian. Like, you've always said you go into a tournament like just hoping to crush it. But for a lot of people, they don't. And I think it's quite realistic to go into a 10 round and be like, right, I'd really like to go at least positive or something like that. Or put yourself a goal.
Yeah, I mean, like, if the goal is, I can see not entering the tournament with the idea of winning it. Actually, in my last 4Season, I really haven't played a game of Magic in 6 months, except for one tournament. And I really went in like, okay, I of course will try to win, but if I don't, I won't be hard on myself, even if I make some mistakes. So I was pretty relaxed, I would say. But like in the previous one, I was always like, I'm entering the tournament to win it. And sometimes I even felt that I was going to top 8 or something like that. So that doesn't mean that you will actually top 8, but it's confidence is of course useful. That said, of course, not having access to all the cards is of course a disadvantage. There's no way around it. If you have friends, if you're a likable person, you have friends, and then you can borrow cards. So don't be an asshole. That's another advice that I can try and make.
So you've heard it here first. To win at Magic, just don't be an asshole. Don't lie to yourself, and play Murphic. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, we should write a proper guide and like put in a book and everything and sell it. Somebody's gonna buy it, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, if we put Callum's name on the front of it,
we'll sell one copy.
There must be like a really famous Callum Smith that we could try to impersonate.
There is. There's a boxer called Callum Smith.
Oh yeah. I remember that. I think we even like told somebody that was like your previous career.
Actually, sorry, that's my alter ego. Yeah.
Yeah, or you can just write your surname, like just Smith, and then everyone will be interested. So.
Yeah. So the guy is from Liverpool. Can you do like the rest of the podcast like in a Scouse accent?
I won't now, but when I'm drunk, ask me then.
Okay.
I do
told
terrible
you about the first time
when I'm
I heard a Scouse, all right? I thought like I literally thought it was a foreign language, and I was waiting for the subtitles to kick in. And then like after literally more than half a minute, I only slowly realized, oh, this is supposed to be English. Oh my fucking God. Like, forget everything I've ever heard before. This is crazy.
Scouse is something. Yeah. Cool. So, should we go on to like your latest 4 seasons and stuff?
Yeah. I guess slightly before I guess it kind of overlaps. Okay. So what I was wondering, and I guess that goes into your deck choice, because you did not play Shadow at the last 4 seasons, right? I kind of want to hear what you think people are misunderstanding about the current format, like in the greater scheme of, hey, let's learn from Marco Montani because he's got the big brain carrot. Like you have people carrying your brain for you at times, right? Because it gets too heavy. That's how I understand it. And what do you think are the big traps in Legacy right now? What do people get wrong? What are they fighting over that they shouldn't be fighting over? And how did that lead you to choosing Grixis Delver instead of like your signature deck?
Okay, so I think I'm going to give you a slightly disappointing answer, because I wouldn't be like coherent with what I said before about being like honest with oneself.
I really have never disappointing. I say that as like anyway.
I really have no idea about what people are missing in the format right now. I really don't really know the format at the moment, but I can tell you how this influenced my decision with Grixis Delver. So I just took a look to various lists. Then I took a look to the cards I owned, and I saw that for Delver I just need to borrow a couple of cards, and that Delver was the safest deck to play, because like the Scaminator could have been not that obvious in the sideboarding plans, and yeah, so I just went for the safe. Let's say, in general, when you're unsure, going for the safe approach is if you're a good player, is not there's no shame in it. I wasn't prepared. I must be honest, and I have to say that I don't have great insight at the moment. I think I had in the past, but not now. So I just went with a straightforward deck that I thought had a chance against anyone. I asked Matteo Blasi, which is a crazy good Delver player, is probably better than me at playing Delver.
And even he plays Grixis right now, right? Because
yeah,
Matteo
exactly.
has always been known for playing Canadian. Like when he plays Grixis, there's something to be learned.
Yeah, exactly. If he plays Grixis, we meme a bit about Stifle because I hate the card, but still I went with his list.
But dude, here I was like waiting for you to sing the praises of Stifle after Callum and I talked about the card like for the last 2 episodes straight, and I kind of love the card, but I also get why like we probably shouldn't play it, but I guess we kind of do. And I see 2 in your list, and I also saw 2 in one of your shadow lists at some point. I want to say you have so many top
actually it was 1 that was very crazy. So I want to make this point in general. I see people that see a stock list or even build a stock list and then are like, okay, that guy changed 1 or 2 slot, now the list is shit. This is bullshit. Like, if you take debt and taxes and you take out a plane for a swamp, you will still have chances to win the tournament. That's objectively wrong. That's objectively wrong. You're decreasing your chance, but it's not that your deck is now shit. It's just
I was thinking you were going into like, oh, and you trim like 1 Mother of Runes for like a giver of runes.
I want to be extreme.
You put a basic swamp in there.
I want to make a point, because really, like 1 slot, unless you're playing like a deck with tutors, etc., it doesn't really affect that much a single tournament. It will in the long run. Like if you play 3 Brainstorm for your whole life, you won't win a lot. But if you play 3 Brainstorm in 1 single tournament, you may still win, and you may even win because you played 3 Brainstorm. Maybe you were tight on mana and you drew the perfect answer instead of the cantrip. So what I'm saying is, of course, you have to make the right decisions. but it's not that a wrong decision in deck building is like apocalyptic.
Devastating.
Yeah. So that's important, because then you can like evaluate things with a more open-minded approach. Let's say if you see a little difference, you immediately dismiss the list. You won't learn much. So things can be wrong, but still you may learn something from the rest of the list.
So we make a couple of like happy little mistakes. Thank you, Bob Ross, something like that. No, but I see what you're saying, right? I think a lot of people, they love to spot like a minor inefficiency in a list, which is like important to note, because then you can like improve it. But then they will also like go out of the way and shoot that list down and that person and be like super negative about it, because it's like a thing where they want to like put forward like, look at me, I'm so smart, I spotted this. Like, I mean, that's what makes people insufferable. And like, yeah,
I mean, there should be in deck building some like some sacred cows, let's say, but
like the third brainstorm.
Yeah, like you don't have to play brainstorm ever if you want to succeed. No, I'm joking, of course, but yeah, you can sometimes break the rules, and if you have a good reason for it, and if you're wrong, like just play good and compensate for it. Like it can be helpful.
There's the proper advice: just get good.
Just get good. Something also like, at least to me, it's a very big difference. Like, for example, when I talk among friends and they show me a list and it has like basic swamp and that doesn't Texas lists, like they won't hear the end of it. Like I will make fun of them as hard as I can, just because there's like an understanding of a lot of mutual respect and like nothing is personal. It's just fun. Whereas if I talk to somebody I don't know very well, or it's like a random person on Twitter or something, then it's really awkward if you like get super, super like, I don't know, if you start like insulting them, because then all of a sudden like you don't have that shared understanding between friends that it's not really personal and you're just like shit talking. And I think a lot of people don't really get that, and they I don't know, like I can shit talk Callum all I want, he's still like a really good player, and especially I think over the last 2 years you've actually been more successful than I have. So I think that's just like,
I promise to never shit talk you either, Julian.
I'm not sure I'm ready to go there, but we will see.
No, I'll never make fun of anyone. To my dear co-host as well, I never make fun of you or Kai.
Yeah, but by the way, my point overall is just there are decisions that are objectively wrong, and the swamp in the syntaxis is an example. But the point is that people even get angry or frustrated that like I have a good list, the other guy that has a bad list made top 8 and I didn't. Like,
I see that a lot actually. Yeah.
Don't tilt for this thing. Magic involves luck. Luck exists. It's like, let's say, okay, luck exists is maybe pretty philosophical, so we'll leave that aside. But sometimes someone who isn't worthy will top 8, and that's fine, and sometimes you will top 8 when you're not worthy. And one, I think, of the qualities that players should have is that if you win but you misplayed, you shouldn't feel happy. Like, to be honest, I have been much more devastated after winning without deserving the win than after losing without deserving the win. I mean, it was very, very painful for me to make a mistake and still win the match. Of course, I wouldn't want to lose it. Winning is
I was going to say, like, you can always scoop if you want to, right?
Yeah, I would never scoop. But yeah, that's important. I think it's the fact that you won doesn't mean that you're right in general. With the deck building choices, play patterns, the fact that you won doesn't necessarily mean that you're right.
Yeah, I guess that goes back to like not lying to yourself, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
One of the most common things when you talk to people about like potential misplays is, no, but like it won me the game. Like, yeah, it won you the game like here, but like, I don't know, if you repeat the same decision 100 times, like more often than not, it will not win you. And I mean,
exactly.
I think a lot of people listening to this already get that, but like really putting into action and understanding, hey, this was the wrong play, even though it won me the game. It's sometimes uncomfortable for people to do that.
Yeah, one easy practice that you can do if you are like undecided about one slot in your deck, you just play one of the two choices, and every time you draw it, you ask yourself, what would have the other card done in this situation? If you don't do that every time, we'll only end up remembering when the card was very good, and you'll convince yourself of something.
That's actually a really smart way to do that, because in paper we used to do that too. And if it's like multiple copies of a card or something, like we would sometimes just like put it in upside down into the sleeve. On Magic Online, you can just like elect to play a foil version of it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never done it, but it's actually very insightful.
Yeah. I mean, of course, you have to play a lot for it to come up, but at times, that's something I definitely think about. Where I think some people, when playtesting, I've also seen them like print basically the same card, like miniature versions, like those split cards. They print both of those cards into it, and then they keep track of how often they want the one side versus the other side, and like how critical the situation was. Like sometimes you just win more, right? That's the thing in StarCraft, like, or even in Magic, right? Where you just like win more. Like technically the card is good, but literally any other card would have done it.
Yeah.
But you also have to keep track of like how important that card was at that moment.
When it actually makes a difference or not.
Yeah, exactly. So going back to Stifle, you said you don't really like the card. Did you play it because Matteo recommended it?
Yeah, and I asked him if I had to play it, and he provided.
Forced you.
No. I just asked, do you really have to play Stifle? And he sent me a voice message with the reasons. He listed plenty of situations, and in the end, he convinced me that like, who am I to with no test, to not trust him? So I just ran it, and in the end, it really wasn't that great in the tournament. I think in one game it was very good, and other games was insignificant, I would say. So, but yeah, I mean, he had good reasons, so I just listened to him, and that's one of like, if I was like deep into the metagame, deep into playtesting, etc., I would follow my instinct and not Matteo's. But if he's playing, he's having great results, and I'm not, it's just there's no reason why I should not trust him.
The other thing with Magic is you're extrapolating kind of conclusions from not many results. I can't remember who said that quote.
That was Andrew Ellenbogen. Like,
was it?
The skill in Magic is like correctly extrapolating from inconclusive data sets or something.
Yeah, that's great way to
exactly. So I always harken back to that being like, right, so you played a tournament and you won the tournament, and then you say this card was good or bad, but how do you know that's really right and stuff? So this is a case for it here with Stifle, I guess.
Exactly. So I just played the deck because it was like a safe deck to play, deck that I felt comfortable playing without playtest, and every other deck I wouldn't have been as comfortable. But also I really just went to the tournament to see people. I was undecided until the day before. But in the back of my mind, I went, okay, it would be really cool to go to the tournament with low expectation and smash it. So some part of me still wanted to win.
So without going into like every single one of your 9 rounds, I think that would be too much for this occasion here. But I see that you have 24 points, which kind of tells me that you had to play until the very end, so you didn't get to double draw into the top 8. Is that correct? So did you have to play your win in against somebody?
Yes, that was very weird because the guy was 3rd and I was 10th, and pairings were wrong, and he had to play instead of drawing.
Okay.
And so that was heartbreaking for him, of course. But that said, of course, nothing I could have done. I wouldn't. Of course, it would be unfair to scoop to him. So
no. You know, because then also like you're screwing over somebody else, which would be yourself actually in that case.
No, I don't feel like.
Of course.
I just.
You gotta earn it.
Yeah, exactly. And I played, and he was pretty unlucky. It really wasn't an epic game. But one thing that I think is very important is that I feel a bit of tension between rounds, but when I play, all of that disappears, and I'm very, very comfortable playing on camera or with people watching. I I could argue maybe I even play better because I'm a bit of a show off, to be honest. Maybe you guys, maybe you caught a bit of that during this this podcast, but
it's being honest with yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I have to say, I'm a bit. I have a bit of this kind of personality, so that's very useful because I actually play my best in the win and ins. I play my best when I'm streaming. I actually had an insane record on streaming, something like 10 or 15 wins in a row, something insane.
Wow!
And I actually, until last year, I hadn't ever lost a match on streaming. That was pretty cool. Of course, there's also luck involved, and the games are there to testify it. But it was a cool thing to have. Then I lost to Gianluca Gazzola, which is a friend and a very, very lucky friend. But
I thought you were going to say like a very good friend. No.
but yeah, and so that's very important. Yeah, I had to play the last game. I was a bit tense before, but once I sat down, everything, every bit of tension disappeared. That's very, very useful, I would say.
And then you made it into the top 8 once again, actually on the very top. So technically, I guess that means you're also qualified for the next European Legacy Masters, right?
Yeah, and I was lucky about that too, because two other players, there was another wrong pairing. The players played, and they drew unintentionally, and thanks to that, I was the sole lead. If they otherwise, tomorrow I would have been in a local tournament, in a local qualifier. But since I already won, I won't go tomorrow.
Oh, well, look at me! I'm playing my first Legacy Paper tournament in like 3 months tomorrow.
To be honest, I have to say that I kind of disagree with the policy, because I think the person that should go to the ELM is the undefeated one. I said that when I went undefeated, and I say this now that I actually was top in first place. I think like going undefeated, it's just better.
I see. So you're saying like the person going 7-0-2 is more deserving than the person going 8-1?
Yeah, I think it would make sense. I don't know if that's actually feasible.
But in this case, though, we have like 2 people. Like usually you end up having 2 people who go undefeated, right? If they
it's possible. Yeah. So, but I would say like if there's only one, maybe they could do something about it. But it's not that easy, because maybe the opponent has to play. So it's just it's more than a practical thing. It's just a philosophical thing.
I understand. And for those who don't know, by the way, the top 8, like 4 Seasons, is a really long tournament, and there's like plenty of other tournaments going on the other days. Especially when ELM is also running on one of the days. So they pre-split the top 8. So if you make it into the top 8, everybody gets the same price. But the first person also gets like the official win. Like I think there's like even a trophy and the qualification for the European Legacy Masters.
No trophy this time, unfortunately.
No trophy. Oh,
yeah. I'm a bit
what's
sad,
going on? Inflation is catching up.
There's
no money for a trophy anymore.
I mean, maybe the prize pool was higher because of that, so I can't complain.
maybe we can create some Everyday Eternal trophy. Can you imagine like if we gave out like a trophy and has like the huge Everyday Eternal logo on it? I'd love that.
Yeah.
I still give out trophies for LLM. We've got one tomorrow. I always get trophies. Although there's a running joke, I need to admit now, I forget about half the time. I remember like 2 days before, and I'm like, shit, it's too late to order them, so I have to get them sent.
Card Market still owes me a trophy from MKM 2016 Milan. Like I won that, and I talked to the organizer, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna send you the trophy." Yeah, it never arrived. It's like, okay, but yeah, you don't need a trophy to be a winner.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's the joy. The joy is enough, I would say.
Yeah. So, are you still gonna continue like what you're doing right now, as in like really not playing all that much, and then just like randomly showing up, winning the tournament, and then going back into hibernation? Or is there some kind of drive that you want to play more Magic again?
Yeah, let's say that the tournament like lit the fire a little bit, but not quite enough to get me on Magic Online yet. back on Magic Online. I think I will come back after Modern Horizons drops, because even if there will be a lot to complain about, probably still when thing changes massively, I thrive, and I really maybe not even thrive, but I really have the most fun.
I was gonna say that sounds like some kind of environment you would thrive in, right? That's very much what you want to try out, like wonky, crazy stuff and see where it takes you.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I will probably just set in the end on a solid deck, but I will have I will play some leagues with crazy stuff, trying out new things, and that's what, as I said, Magic is a game to me. It's not. I have many other things that I like to do in my life, and I want to play it when I really want to play it. I don't want just for it to be a distraction or something like that. I want to, let's say, even honor the time my time, and that's it. So if thing changes, then I will, my curiosity, which is one of my main features, let's say, will get lit up, and then I will come back probably. But still, I want, even if nothing changes and stuff, I still want to try and come to every 4 season because of the people, maybe.
Yeah.
Mainly, let's say.
Where in Italy are you based again?
I'm in Lucca, which is 1 hour and a half from Bologna, so it's very, very handy.
You can do that, that sounds great.
Even 2 hours or 3 would be fine. More would probably I wouldn't go. Yeah.
By the way, I find that so inspiring what you said, that you really want to appreciate every Legacy tournament you go to and like have the fire for it, and not like be this thing that you do over and over and over again. Because I think like at some point in my life I kind of was there, and right now I'm certainly not at that point anymore. Like tomorrow I'm going to a tournament, I'm really hyped for it, but I didn't really have any kind of like preparation for it. Like I'm probably gonna play Painter, and I don't even know what I'm gonna play. I think I haven't even played against Blue-Black Rescaminator with it yet. Like whatever. I'm literally just going there to have fun, to see friends, to play a tournament. Like the first paper tournament in half a year. I have barely played any leagues, and that's like a very good relationship with the game right now.
To clarify a little bit, like I don't want to. I can go to a tournament even if I don't have the fire, and it actually happened in the last 4 season. I went because of the people, but that's a single tournament. I can do that, but I can't like spend my evening on Magic Online if I don't really want to play. That's the point.
Yeah, that's a very healthy approach. I like that a lot.
Yeah, but I'm happy with the balance I found, because like in the past it was very all in when I was playing and all out when I was not playing. I would skip 4 seasons and stuff, and now I really try to play every time I can in 4 season. Like I missed the previous one because I was in a pretty intense period in my life. I changed car, house, and work. A job, so
I thought you were gonna say like car, housewife.
no, wife. No, I went to live with my girlfriend, so it was. But she's not my wife yet, so.
We will see. Maybe next 4 seasons is gonna do it.
If you see me missing a 4 season, you can go search for churches in the
the rumors are gonna start up, right?
Exactly.
Dude, Marco, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you guys that have been at light, and
it's been awesome.
Maybe
where can people find you online, like if they want to get to the truth of their own misunderstandings about themselves? Where can they get some?
No, I mean then you can probably see a therapist and not me, but I'm not qualified. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter, that I use mainly for MTG related stuff, or you can hit me on any social network, let's say Facebook or Instagram is not a problem.
So do we search for Marco Montani? I'm actually
it's Marco Montani 17 on Twitter. That's
on
probably
X they call it now.
On X, X. X.
And if you've been up by ISAMARU, it's MM_19 on Magic Online, right?
MM_17.
17, sorry.
On Magic Online, yes.
Yeah.
That's how it works. So yeah, we're looking forward to Modern Horizons 3, to your return to brewing. And everybody get ready for what's it going to be? ISAMARU Planeswalker control and Legacy.
Exactly.
Here we
go. Cats Sambas now.
Cats and dogs. It will be very interesting.
Awesome. Grace, I had a great time. I'm looking forward to the review once we get Kai back onto the podcast to see what he has to say about being honest to yourself. And with that, I'm going to say thank you so much, everybody, for supporting us. Thank you for leaving your reviews on iTunes, on Spotify, also supporting us on Patreon. Especially our Eternal Witness tier supporters, Kane, Colin Garassi, Alex Crow, Tim Everett, Testacular, Salvatore of MTG Chicago, Sebastian Holager, Guillaume, Sean Dewey, Francis Cowper, Cassandra Davis, Dylan Shoemaker, Retro Shara, Tom Tischka, Benedict Gruber, and Severin Schwarzhuber. And our Grizzlebrand top tier supporters. But Grizzlebrand really has, like, that kind of has fallen off. We probably got to think of new tier names at some point.
Tier.
Yeah, we tried that, but Modern Horizons 3 is going to be, maybe actually literally going to make it ISAMARU tier.
You have the answer, yeah. ISAMARU is the answer.
Yeah, ISAMARU tier, the secret ISAMARU tier, signed up by Scott Monroe, Evan Lazar, Tom Hepp, Ian Seifeld, and colonoscopy. Everybody, thank you so much. Also, enjoy the second show that we're going to release tonight, which is our regular podcast with Kaiser Vatarix. And everybody, have a good time. And I'm going to try and watch the rest of Germany against... we are up 2-0 against France now. Everybody, awesome. Thank you. And see you again next time. Bye-bye.
See you
guys.